Well, hello, and welcome everybody to this Monday edition, April 14th edition of the Super Simple Outsourcing webinar. I hope you all had a great weekend, and we see a bunch of people jumping on here. We've got Ben, Brad, Brian, welcome, Chris, Christopher, David, Frank, Fred, James, Jan, Jean-Luc, Jim. So just a bunch of people coming on. So I do thank you for joining us today. We aim to make this highly beneficial, and actually I'm pretty excited about the content today. It sounds like it's really one that was well received. Paul did a version of this webinar before, and everybody was going nuts over it, and several people made the comment that it was the webinar of the year, over the last year, and this is one you just don't want to miss because it's going to give you quite a bit of insider information. It's going to take a look at what the big agencies out there are doing, who those players are, what they're doing to be successful, and you can really go a long ways by modeling people that have already had success. And so that's the aim of today is I think Paul's going to peel back some of the big agencies that he's seen and take a look inside and let you guys know what they're doing to kind of crush it. And therefore you can apply that and aim for similar results if you want to get that big. If you don't and you just want to have a nice steady client base of maybe 10 or 20 clients that'll give you a nice income, well then this will give you a roadmap as well to get there. And so let's get going. Just a couple of house cleaning items or housekeeping items before we get fired up here. I'm going to walk through some of these slides. All right, first of all, I'd like to do an audio check just to make sure that you are all actually hearing us. So if some of you could let us know that it looks like we've got some folks saying hello, so it does look like you can hear us, but there we go. Val says, I hear you. Thank you for that. All right. Frank, Jean-Luc, David, Christopher, thank you, James. Okay, so we're looking good there. And let's go in the recording. We do record these, and I am recording right now on 2 machines to capture this and have a backup. So we should get this posted up to our website in the next, the Super Simple Outsourcing website this week. It's always the aim to get it up this week if you'd like to rewatch it. I have a feeling this might be one you might want to mark down to rewatch at some point. Maybe if you're struggling again and you need some more tips, I think this is going to be the webinar that you want to reach to. All right, so we did the audio chat box. If you're not familiar with GoToWebinar, in the top right corner of your screen, if it has collapsed itself, there should be an icon that's got an orange background and a white arrow. That will help you to expand the GoToWebinar panel, and you will be able to access the chat box. That's where you can answer questions, and if I post links, you will find them in there as well. I posted a few links before the start, and those links were the replay link as well as how to get signed up with Super Simple Outsourcing and Paul's company, and that's how the first link was how to do that. So if you don't already have your reseller account, that's your first step, is to find that link that I sent out in the chat panel, or it's also in your LBMM course, of course, and apply, get signed up, jump into the dashboard, and get familiar with all the services that you can provide to your prospective and your clients. All right. So there's the link for the replays. Again, it's easier to just click on the one that I placed in the chat panel. If you have any support questions that we're not able to get to today, that is the email address that you want to use, and that gets a hold of myself or the support team here at Nitro. If you have a very campaign-specific question for Paul's team, highly recommend you to reach out to your customer service rep or your sales associate, and they can help you out with any campaign-related items. There are some questions we don't field online, and that's because, or on the live webinar, that's because they're very specific to your unique case, and we don't want to take everyone's time just for something that's very specific. So, all right, let's get moving here. My name is Matt Smith. I'm with Nitro Marketing, and thank you for joining us. My role is a support manager at Nitro Marketing, and I have waiting in the wings, ready to jump out, is Paul, and he is the CEO and SEO guru with Endless Rise, our partner company, and he will be jumping on very, very soon. How was your weekend, Paul?
Hey, my weekend was great. Thanks, Matt. Hopefully everyone else had a great weekend as well. Excited to have this webinar that we're going to be talking about going difference between big online marketing companies and small online marketing companies. So it should be a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw some of the bullet points, and I just really piqued my curiosity. So soon enough, I will be handing over the screen to Paul, and we can get going. I do have a announcement for everyone, real quick. We're going to be moving to a summer schedule, probably starting in May, and that will drop us down to one of these webinars per month. And so we'll aim to make a nice, action-packed, content-packed webinar once a month, and that's just because the attendance does go down traditionally. I know we're not quite to summer yet, but I see people are transitioning a little bit. There's a lot of content to take in out there. There's a lot of webinars, and people just seem to gain benefit, from a healthy mix of webinars. And so that's what we're going to be moving to in the months ahead here. And we'll go ahead and finalize probably April with the one on April 28th. That would be the next SSO webinar. That would be a Q&A version of the webinar. And so if you've got questions that aren't specific to today's content, we'll try and tackle those at the end of the month. And then look for the new schedule coming in May. All right, so today's main topic, Paul already kind of touched on the title of it, looking at small and big agencies and the differences and the players out there. And and then we'll have some Q&A after that. So I'm going to go ahead and get the screen clicked over to Paul and allow him to take us away here. So let's see. All right, Paul, that should be on its way over to you.
Okay.
All right, we've got your screen
So,
up.
yeah, we did a webinar about this before. We're going to be kind of doing a recap for the SSO community. It'll probably be a little bit shorter. But what we're going to be going over is how big online marketing companies got big and why they're still getting bigger, and why small online marketing companies stay small. And, I suppose the premise of the webinar really is just the mindset behind the difference between the two companies. Of course, smaller companies are more personal, and bigger companies focus more on overall big numbers. But a lot of this is just the mindset behind the different company types. So we can dive into this. What I start out with is by analyzing the top marketing companies that are in the United States. So let me do a quick pulse check before I dive into this. How many people are brand new on the line? Just find your questions box or your chat box and just give a shout out. How many people are brand new? Brand new, never been on a webinar before. Okay, so we have quite a few brand new people on the line. Okay. And out of the brand new people, how many of you are currently selling online marketing? Social media optimization, SEO, local optimization? Robert says not yet. Mark says I am. Chris says Facebook. Just getting started. Not yet. Okay, so a lot of you are looking to get started with it. That's good. Will says SEO, PPC. Okay. So what we're going to be looking at is some of the top online marketing companies in the United States. Actually, the top ones, whenever I say the top ones, how I classify them is by the amount of revenue that they bring through their front door each year. So for those of you who haven't seen this webinar, how much money do you think the top online marketing company in the United States processes through? And we're just talking by revenue, just for online marketing. We can exclude Yellow Pages. Mike says 5 billion. Mike, could you name the name of that company? Chris says 10 billion. That's a lot of money. Yeah, Amazon's not an online marketing company. So it's around 500 million. So that's pretty big. We're going to start with Yodel. And I'm going to read you an excerpt from Yodel. Yodel is a very large online marketing company, right? Very large. And in fact, if you have any clients and they go and buy a domain name, there's a good chance that they'll get a phone call from a Yodel salesman trying to sell them online marketing. So if you're going to tell your client to go buy a domain name and you're going to run an SEO campaign for them, you might want to buy the domain name for them and sign it over to them, because they might get a call from a salesman, because you can track where when people buy a domain name. So it's on their page, it reads, it's really that simple, and that's why we're the #1 independent provider of online marketing services to local businesses in the U.S. When we determine the right combination of ad placements and formats for you, we have data to make optimal decisions across many complex factors of online marketing, such as keywords, ad copy, ad formats, bids, positions, and landing pages. Now, this is pretty, for the most part, all automated, right? How did we figure this all out? We have a staff of quantitative experts who build and constantly refine our algorithm to enhance results. So the way that they're positioning in it is as if they're covering all of your online marketing, but they're staff of quantitative experts who build and constantly refine their algorithm. Those are software developers, right? But they're talking as if they're people who hand cater their campaigns. And while this work happens behind the scenes, you have access to a team of marketing experts responsible for understanding your business and overseeing the success of your online marketing campaign. Not that those marketing experts do anything for you, you just have access to them. You see how that's worded? That's pretty much what they do is, for the most part, completely automated. It's based on PPC, but it's presented more around the realm of this as if it's custom-tailored SEO, really. So Yodel, Yoda is a typo, they provide local optimization, automated, but claims to have real people monitoring and adjusting. They talk about SEO methodologies. See, local optimization. It's automated, but claims to have real people monitoring and adjusting. Monitoring, they provide analytics. PPC services is automated once the landing page is put up. And they offer web design. And this is their little excerpt about web design. We start by building you a high-quality website that launches within 24 hours. Our creative professionals design websites that look and feel like expensive custom sites, but at a very affordable price. So their creative professionals design and build websites that launch in 24 hours. Does that make sense to anyone? So yeah, you can't design and build a site that's going to launch in 24 hours. It's pre-packaged, pre-templated, automated. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a high value proposition, but they talk about it as if it is. Okay, so on yodel.com, BBB, you can look them up all day long. They've got horrible reviews all over the place on Yodel does, Y-O-D-L-E, not Yoda, but Yodel has bad reviews all over the place on BBB, and you can look them up everywhere else online. They've got a ton of horrendous reviews all over the place. But what about their growth statistics? Age, they're 8 years old, revenue $132 million in 2012. In 2014, they processed through $180 million. Their strategy is sell faster than you lose your clients, hard, fast sales, and they run out of a sales call center. So are they running Are they running a high-quality firm? No, they're not running high quality. Are they offering a legitimate marketing service? To a certain degree. Is it presented in a light that is much shinier than it actually is? Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, they're pushing $180 million a year. How many of you out there think that your marketing product is better than Yodel's? Anyone think that they have a better marketing product than Yodel? Chris says, hell yeah. Mine will be. Well, you should be outsourcing through us, so I would say, yeah, absolutely. And you know why? You know what you have to do to have a better online marketing product than Yodel? And unless it's PPC and people really understand the nature of it, yeah, you need a real product like SEO or local buzz or social media optimization, or even the PPC that we run. There's real humans managing the campaign, right? Not automated software. With web design, there's real humans building a website. It's not automated software. So it's not difficult to beat their product. Now, what does it take to beat them in revenue? So if they don't have a good product, but they have a very high amount of revenue, which is what you want, what's the difference between them and you if you have a better product? Are you struggling in sales? Do you have issues in sales? Are you worried about, tentativeness on going out there and tackling the world? They're not. They've got a lot of bad reviews out of the way that they do things as well, but it doesn't slow them down. Bad reviews won't slow anybody down, ever. So that's Yodel. Let's look at another sample, Reach Local. Reach Local helps small and mid-sized businesses acquire and retain customers online. It offers comprehensive online marketing reporting services, including search engine marketing, display advertising, remarketing, and online marketing analytics. Are those things that you offer? Do you offer search engine marketing, which sounds like search engine optimization, right? They say they offer SEO. Display advertising, right? That can be done. Remarketing and online marketing analytics. All right, well, you've got the analytics. We have the monster metrics for you, but you can also use Google Analytics. That's nothing amazing. Remarketing is very straightforward. Display advertising, straightforward. Search engine marketing is PPC, but they also say they offer SEO, web design, PPC, and video production. But they also have a lot of bad reviews. So although they claim to be one of the top online marketing companies in the world, they have a total amount of complaints on this website of 26, total claim losses from people 86,000 on marketing. Here's another site where they have a lot of really bad reviews, horrible reviews all over the place. People do not like Reach Local who have used them. That's the way it is. I mean, their retention rate has to be really, really slow. Here's another site. I don't even know which one this one is. Again, a lot of bad reviews. I too hired Reach Local in Southeast Florida. After having a salesperson I trusted go over there, we believed it would work. They promised 500 calls and 50 closings a month. In 2 months, I got 6 inquiries, 4 calls, 2 internet inquiries, and closed none. I was completely misled and planned to challenge their credit card charges. When I went back to my rep, all I got was lip service. He said he made changes and still no calls. I asked for upper management to talk to, and it's been 3 days and still nothing. They just don't care. No problem. I changed the credit card to stop the campaign, and I've got the email saying I would get 500 calls a month, total 100,000 calls for 2 months, and the analytics saying I got 6. That is seriously off. I should win this one. So if they're such a bad company, then they must not be making any money, right? They must be completely in the gutter, going out of business. People are boycotting. People are picking up signs, taking to the streets and saying this company rips everyone off. Well, let's see. They've been around for 10 years. In 2006, they did $25 million in revenue. That's not bad. In 2013, they did over $500 million in revenue. $500 million in revenue. Strategy, the same as Yodel. Sell faster than you lose clients. Simple. Hard, fast sales. Total advertisers, 24,000. So they have 24,000 clients pretty much. Total salespeople, 957. Anticipated revenue for the full year, 515 to 518 million. Now let's assume that Reach Local has 28K advertisers at the end of the fourth quarter and total revenue of 518 million for the year. That would mean advertisers are each paying an annual amount of 18,500 to Reach Local. What's 18,500 divided by 12? Can someone give me a shout out on that? Anyone got their calculator open so I don't have to plot my calculator on the screen? 18,500 divided by 12. Throw it out there in the comments. $1,500. Would any of you like a client for $1,500 a month? Would you take a client that's willing to spend $1,500 a month in online marketing? Anyone? Is that enough for you? Is that the bottom of the barrel? Are those the low-level clients that you're not willing to take, or are those the clients that you wish you could take all day long? Okay. Well, Reach Local has 24,600 of them, and on average they're paying $1,500 a month, and they're not happy. Those are the clients that you want, and you got to ask yourself, if their services are not legitimate, if your services are 5 times better than theirs are, why would you be struggling with sales if they're not? You got a better product, right? Assuming equal production from all salespeople, which is a fiction, it would be roughly a 541K annual revenue sales volume per rep. Each of their sales rep is pulling $541,000 a year in revenue for that company. Is that impressive? That's very impressive. That's sales. That's sales all day long. How much do you think they pay their salespeople? Anyone? Any guess? Salesman's bringing in $541,000. Mike says 36K. Chris says 33K. Christopher says 24K. Any other guesses? Gene says 75K. Fred says 50K. With bonuses and everything involved, I would be estimating personally that that salesman's making $75,000 a year. Now, how much of it is commission-based versus raw salary? I don't know. Probably quite a bit, really. So 541K, huge. Chris says 10K outsourced to PI. This is not outsourced, I guarantee you. Salesmen pulling this kind of revenue, those are in-house. Those are hired in-house. I'm a really big believer in people needing to hire their staff in-house whenever it comes to sales or pulling people underneath commission. But whenever it comes to sales, sales is a rare monster. Sales is a ball game. Sales is completely different. I mean, you study online marketing all day long, but online marketing is not sales. Sales is sales. Online marketing is online marketing. But if you don't know sales, you can't do this. Now, so second company in line. First company in line was doing 180 million, bad reputation, bad reviews, bad product, 180 million a year. Here's another company, bad reviews, bad product, $518 million in 1 year. Do you need online marketing or do you need sales if you want to be successful? That's what this is all about, to open your eyes to. YP, anyone know who YP is? Yellow Pages. So let's check out Yellow Pages. Average revenue per advertiser in 2013, first quarter, $3,259. So each of their clients spending over $1,000. Second quarter, same. Third quarter, roughly about the same. 85% retention rate, which is flat, which is good. So they're averaging a little over $1,000, about $1,100, if you will, a month. Now, so Reach Local's at about $1,500 a month. YP's at around $1,100 a month per client. Again, is that the kind of client that you would like? Would you like a client for $1,100 a month? So you pay your outsourced provider what? As low as $400 a month, as high as $600 a month. You're making $1,100 a month to do some project management. You stack clients like that all day long. So keep in mind, when you look at the big players and thinking that they have automated solutions, they're pulling clients for the same amount of revenue that you wish you were. So customer feedback. So it's Yellow Pages, right? Yellow Pages is huge. I could go through these. There's a ton of negative feedback about Yellow Pages. I'll give you some examples on these. This one's saying, I canceled with this company 2 years ago. I'll take a blame that I lost the cancellation number, but in short, they won't let me cancel. I once again paid the $449 cancellation fees in June, and I'm still not able to cancel. So they weren't able to just only cancel. When they wanted to cancel with YP, they had to pay a $449 cancellation fee. How many of you charge your client a cancellation fee? Anyone? Does anyone on the line charge their client a cancellation fee? If you do not have them in a contract, or if you do have them in a contract and they are going to cancel with you, do you have a cancellation fee? Why not? Sure. They're going to break contract. Why not have a clause that lets them have an easy way out of breaking contract, and that's called a cancellation fee. If you don't have a cancellation fee, welcome to one of the differences between a small company and a big company. You should have a cancellation fee. There's no arbitration necessary when they want to break contract. It's really simple. Pay that, and you can cancel your contract. It's easy. Wow, this is a big one. This is about YP. Firstly, I signed up with the salesman there for a priority listing for 2 business names. He said I would get 5 priority listings for both for $91 per month. They went live, and not only did I get 1 listing on each instead, but 5. Instead of 5, but he had the wrong phone number on one listing and the wrong category on the other, with several phone calls and emails to my salesman who said he had it under control and was working on it, and nothing done. I got busy for a week or so, and by the time I had to contact him again, I find he's no longer working there. They sent me to a new person who is meant to be a supervisor, and she hard sells me into a contract for $1,300 per month. Let me stop right there. They started out selling a product to a client for how much money per month? How much money per month did I just say? $91 a month. They started out selling a product to a client for $91 a month. That was what? Like 5 directory listings? How many of you have a product for $100 or less per month that you can sell to a client? In other words, don't ever get off the phone unless you sell a product, even if it's clear down to $50 a month. How many of you have a product that you could sell to a client for less than $100 a month? Do I hear crickets? No, nobody? Denny says yes. Okay, Denny, what do you have? What do you have that you sell to a client for less than $100 a month? If you're a pro member on our platform, right? We have the Monster Metrics. You can sell Monster Metrics installation and analytics tracking, and then what you can do is you can sell them consulting with that, where you go over their analytics and their webmaster error messages with them, right? And that's a sales call. You're upselling them. You should be doing that for free anyways, trying to land a client. Why not have them pay you at least $50 a month for it or something like that? You know, if you're going to offer a really low-level service, like underneath $100, it needs to be automated. Maybe there's a small setup to it, but on an ongoing monthly basis, it needs to be automated. It has to be. You can't sell something for less than $100 a month and actually produce actual manpower. It's not worth your time. You're going to spend more time in launching a project, project management, quality auditing, and reporting than you are going to do the actual work. It's not worth your time. It needs to be automated. It needs to be automated. So if you don't have something, get something. If you need something, then you can follow my consulting and go buy our pro membership and use the Monster Metrics and set up analytics tracking for someone and offer consulting along with it. And those consulting sessions are not actual consulting sessions. They're sales sessions trying to get them to pay more into online marketing. Okay, so for all of you out there that are just going for the big kill, you better have something to fall back on and close every client on. So here's an example of Yellow Pages, which is doing what I really recommend to do, at least on the sales standpoint. They sell a client on $91, and then what happens when that client has problems at a low-level product like that? What happens when the client has a problem at $91? They call in. Who cares about giving support to a product that's $91? You handle very many phone calls that month on a $91 product, and you're going to lose money. You do not support a $91 product. You can't. You can't. It wouldn't make any sense at all. What happens when they call in on a $91 product? What do you think their internal sales funneling is? Someone calls in, they're on a $91 product, the only objective of that company, and if you were in their situation, the only objective of your company should be to upsell them, which is exactly what they did. So good job on that component. They send me to a new person who is meant to be a supervisor, and she hard sells me into a contract for $1,300 per month. Okay, now they're getting paid a respectable amount of money to actually deal with issues. What the salesman probably said to the client was, you're paying me $91 a month, and a nice way of saying, you're wasting my time on the phone, but if you'd like to be making good use of my time on the phone, why don't you pay $1,300 a month and I'll take you seriously, and we'll do some real work for you. And she said she would fix the problems I'm having after telling her, yes, I'm interested several times, but I want the other issues fixed first. She wants my credit card details so she can submit the changes and the new contract at the same time. This is not the sort of thing I would have expected from Yellow Pages. So with her pushing and pushing, I just about yielded, and as of tomorrow, I meant to sign for a year, and she will submit changes within 44 hours for the other stuff, so I get on here to see if I have other problems and see the same horror stories. Now I'm really pissed. The new girl tells me as well yesterday, if I sign now, they won't charge me till December. Now she says I have to pay straight away and changes won't occur until I do. I'm not liking this at all. I'm already on the hook for over $2,500 a year for advertising. That one is in the wrong category and the other is the wrong phone number. So they hard sell. They push them into a situation, and everyone's very well trained on how to handle the different situations, right? Is this ethical? After reading this, does it sound ethical? No, that doesn't sound ethical at all, especially the part about I won't fix your problems until you pay me more money. I mean, they should either say I support that product or I don't, and you have to live with it. Okay, but that's how they handle theirs. How about this one? The salesman did a cold approach to my business, a cold call. I didn't want to sign up for anything with a contract. I wanted to be able to cancel if I could, since I was not sure what direction my business was going in the near future. so I didn't know what quality of work they would produce. These guys were horrible. They did things on my website without me authorizing. Come to find out, I am 1 year in contract and cannot cancel. Well, not just come to find out. Someone signed a contract, and that contract was for 1 year. But what do they sign up? What do they start by saying? I didn't want to sign up for anything with a contract. I signed up for a 1 year contract. Hey, respectable sales. If they didn't drop what I owe them, if they don't drop what I owe them, then I will go to a lawyer because they did not list my website on the address that was in the contract I signed. But will they really? Of course they won't. You know how much a lawyer is going to cost them? And the only thing that's going to happen is they'll get a refund on the money. They're not going to sue them for damages or anything. We're talking about Yellow Pages. They're covered. They also posted another company's logo on a website. Oh my God, I'm sure it got fixed. I got ripped off, and these guys don't care about customer satisfaction. Don't care about customer satisfaction. Good thing they're going out of business. Well, their YP online division is doing well. This division that's getting these complaints, that portion of Yellow Pages is doing well. They're not on their way going out of business. That portion of the business that gets these bad reviews, they're doing good. I could go through this one again. This one's really interesting, actually. Maybe you could screenshot it and read it later. I'm going to browse over it. But pretty much someone signed up. They couldn't get out of contract. They weren't happy, but they got sold. Customer feedback. I work for YP. They do hard sales. They push really hard. They don't care about their client, and yada, yada. So I can go on and on and on about YP, the same as I could go on and on about Yodel, and the same thing I could go on and on and on about those things all day long about Reach Local. There were additionally, we researched an additional top 4 online marketing firms in the USA who closely match the services you're offering. I'm not wanting to say their exact names, but the other 4 top firms, which of course YP's pulling in, over $500 million a year. We found the exact same trends with the other 4 top firms in the United States by revenue volume. Low quality services, horrible reputation online, very, very fast growth rate over the last 5 years, great brand image on their own website. They push on sales to outrun attrition. In other words, they're closing more sales than they're losing clients. Sales strategy, volume, call center style, commission-based, very hard sales. They all have this in common, all of them. So what do they all have in common? These are the companies you want to be like by revenue. Okay, if any of you don't, then that's okay. Maybe you just want to run a small business. But if even whenever you go to model your business, the things that you want to model after are the biggest players. If I'm a clothing company, I want to look at the biggest line that's out there to see what I could do. If I'm producing whatever piece of equipment, I want to look at who's the biggest player and how are they doing what they're doing. Why? Because it's equivalent to what you're offering. These clients of these big companies are being pitched the same services that you are offering, right? And Stanley says, so are you going to offer us access to a sales center? Stanley, you would have to know sales better if you want to run sales. You would never come to me for sales center access, ever. You train your own salesman, but that's the problem. If you can't train a salesman, you have problems because this is a sales ballgame. You're outsourcing your work. You're not running operations. The product does not sell itself. Sales sells sales. And that's why these companies are so successful. They're offering the same product by the same label, by the same overall shiny description as what you are, but they're not fulfilling on it. It's not what the client needs, and it's not working out for them. Okay? So now let's talk about you. We talked about them, and we talked about them because they're claiming to offer the same product as you. And whenever I say the same product, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this. Oh, your website needs more traffic? I can take care of that for you. We can put that in SEO. We can put that in PPC. We could put that in social media. Sure. You need more leads? I can take care of that for you. This is what we'll do. It's the same objective. It's the same fulfillment alignment. These people are in the exact same line of fire as you. That client that paid $1,500 or $1,000 a month, or even if it's only $500 a month, to those companies would have paid it to you. So yeah, you're in the exact same line of fire. You need to understand what you're up against. And what's interesting is you need to understand why these companies with bad reviews and a bad product are outperforming you so much. Jamie says, are you going to offer sales outsourcing in the future? If you really think that you can hire a Filipino to work halfway across the world to pull the kind of sales revenue that you need, or that's the type of sales model that you need to pick up a book about sales and start learning sales yourself. You're not going to outsource sales. That's crazy. If you go hire someone from India, go hire someone from China, go hire someone from the Philippines. If you think that someone from here or China or India can actually call someone and close SEO sales for you, you're not in the sales ballgame. You don't understand sales. No way. Are you kidding me? That guy that you meet on the street, you want a salesman? Go hire a Kirby vacuum sweeper salesman that's proven. You know Kirby vacuum sweepers? The guys that sell vacuum sweepers for like $1,500 to $2,000 to people that live in a trailer home on welfare and sell them a $2,000 vacuum sweeper on installments. Those guys, go hire that guy. Watch who he sells. That's a salesman. Sales is sales. A salesman's a salesman. Someone that knocks down sales knocks down sales. But you're not going to get someone with a foreign accent. You're not going to get it. And if you're saying, you know, I suck at sales, then you just and you don't have any clients right now, and if you're saying I suck at sales, you have just identified the #1 biggest problem with your company. You don't have a salesman. Now, for a small business to get up off the ground and close clients, what's the #1 most important thing in the world? Closing sales. If you don't do sales, you have a big problem. A big enough problem to where it's worth bringing someone into your company at 50% equity just as a salesman. Honestly, it's a big deal. And don't think you're ever going to outsource your sales. You find someone that sells and you hire them. If you can't hire them and you don't have any clients, then you know, think about offering equity to someone who can close sales. Because I guarantee you, if someone had equity in your company and they were a salesman, or they were one of those salesmen for Reach Local that does over $500,000 a year in revenue as a hired salesman, and you have no clients right now and you want to hire someone or give them 50% equity in the company, or 49% equity for that you have control, your company is going to be 10 times as big in 2 years as it would be if you were running it alone. And I know that sounds crazy, but sales is so ridiculously important that you cannot overlook it. And if you're thinking to yourself, how do I handle sales, or I'm not good at sales, you better find someone that is. Because as I'm showing to you right now, these are companies, worse product, bad reputation online, same clientele, but they're pushing between 20 to 500 million a year in revenue. And if you can't pick up a client, it's not your product, it's not your outsource, it's not your business model, it's because you can't close sales. I know I need to pound, I'm pounding that into people, but the reason why I'm pounding it so hard is because everyone's so stuck in methodology and everything else. Chris says, what do you mean by offering equity to a salesman? Do you mean 49, 50% ownership of the company? Yeah, Chris, I am saying that. I'm saying if you're sitting there with a small company and you have no clients and you don't know what to do, and you meet someone that's an absolutely amazing salesperson, and you don't have the money to hire a salesperson for the $75,000 a year or $40,000 a year that these other big companies are paying for them, and you have the ability to say, hey, I can run operations, methodology, and everything else, and you just sell, and you don't have the money to pay them anyways, then you're looking at equity. I'm not saying you got to give them that much equity. Maybe it's 25%, maybe it's not. I don't know what your company is worth, but I'll tell you one thing. A company without sales is no company at all. And sales is not online marketing methodology. It's not studying the online news. Sales is sales, period. You pick up a sales guy that's a good sales guy, it doesn't matter if he knows online marketing. You know how much time it would take a really good sales guy that knows nothing about online marketing to sell online marketing? You know how much time it would take him on an educational curve? Probably about 1 day until he picks up the phone, and probably about 1 week until he's got it completely dialed in on his sales pitch. Does that sound crazy? Welcome to high-end sales guys. They'll sell anything. All right. Indeed, we help you accomplish this by providing a high-quality online marketing service for your local business clients at a very low cost, a much better product than the big giants are providing. You're covered on a quality standpoint. But in the real world, you can't please everybody. You will run into problems from time to time, and you'll always have problematic clients from time to time, and this is just a reality. Why? Because you're running on a Google algorithm, and do you know what the Google algorithm is? Do I know what the Google algorithm is? Do I know what's in the secret treasure chest? Do you? Is your whole company banking on what's in the secret treasure chest and thinking you got it all figured out? You don't have it figured out. I don't have it figured out, and I'm running 300 employees. Not trying to figure it out, just running a good product better than the product that the people that are making $500 million a year are running. It's very simple. But are you going to get problematic clients and not be able to fix them whenever you're running a service based on a product and no one knows the answer to the product? Of course you are. And if you don't think you are, then you're just in the wrong mindset. Okay, so loss of customers, customer attrition, or customers churn is inevitable. Now, why am I getting into this? We're going to get a little bit off pace from the typical presentation that where you think I might be going, but just trust me. I'll pull it all together. So what is customer attrition and customer churn rate? As mentioned earlier, customer churn rate happens. It's a reality. What every winner does is focus on another thing that's real, and that is growing their customers and sales, right? So whenever it comes to customer churn rate, you have customers that drop off, and customer churn rate is pretty straightforward. So I actually have a calculation here on churn rate brainstorming. So let's calculate your churn rate. Now, how many of you have calculated your churn rate before? And why am I talking about calculating churn rate right now? Because sales is two things. Whenever you do your financial forecasting, sales is two things. What is it? It's how much money you're making versus how much money's dropping off on attrition, right? That's your financial forecasting for the year. How much inbound sales am I going to have? Your overhead is pretty much negligible for the most part because you're outsourcing the project, so your financial forecasting is ridiculously easy. You run your sales, you forecast how much clients you're going to lose throughout the year, and at the end of the year, you're left with X, right? You're outsourcing it. So you need to understand two things: how much money you're going to be pulling in through sales on your goals, and what's your churn rate? How often are you going to be losing clients? The problem is no one's calculating their churn rate. Again, the difference between a small company and a big company. You will never, ever, ever in your life find a big company that does not understand churn rate or attrition rate versus sales and an annual projection kicked off before the first of each year to know where they're going to be going. Why? Because big companies make their decisions based on numbers. Small companies make their decisions based on emotional attachment to clients. That's what keeps you small. So, what's your churn rate if you're going to offer an SEO product? What's your anticipated churn rate? Anyone? To Phil, Stefan says, can you give examples of why your product is much better than those $500 million companies? Yeah, it's really easy. It doesn't take much. We do the work and we report on it, period. Theirs is automated. We're actually doing work that takes humans, physical time in the day, and we report on it. That's all that it takes. I could go on for another 2 hours, or you could go watch the services video on our services, and then you would know that we provide comprehensive services that are complex, that do take manpower to provide. But I don't even need to say all of that. All I need to say is to tell you that we got a better product than they do, is that we actually do real work and report on it. That's all you need, but we're 10 times more than that. You watch the services videos, you'll know. Michael's saying 10 to 15% churn rate. Christopher's saying 10 to 20%. Yeah, it depends, 10 to 15%. So 10 to 15% churn rate. So what does that mean for you in sales? And by the way, if you don't know how to calculate churn rate, here we go. So let's say you bring on 10 clients a month and lose 1 client a month. That's a 10% churn rate. What is your churn rate over 6 months? Well, creeps up to 11%. So At 10 clients onboarded per month over a 6-month time period, you'd have 60 clients. But wait, you lost 1 client per month, which means that you've lost 6 clients on the 6-month mark, which knocks you down to 54 clients. So to calculate your churn rate, all you need to do is take the number of clients you've lost, 6, divide it by the customers at the end of the period, 54, to equal your 11% churn rate. Is there anyone that's not able to do that calculation? Of course, you can all do that calculation, which means you can all calculate your churn rate. If you're an online marketing company and you're not setting your sales forecasting on what your sales goals are, and if you're not calculating in churn rate, you better pick up a pen, pick up a pencil, write this down, and do it right after the webinar. If you don't know your anticipated churn rate and how much sales you need to make, you got to take a step back and realize that even as a small company, you're missing the biggest basics to any company that you could ever miss in the world. Forget project management system, forget how to invoice someone. If you don't have this kind of projection already done, my question to you is, why wouldn't you have done these numbers before stepping into business? Why would you ever step into business and not know what your financial goals would be and to understand the attrition rate of the industry? Well, how would you already have your own online marketing company and be trying to get into this and not know your sales goals with the churn rate built into it? If you don't have this, you better do it. How long until you plateau in sales with this given churn rate versus onboarding rate? So the question is, at this onboarding rate, at a 10% churn rate, how long until you plateau? So if you're bringing on 10 new clients every month, which that would be a tremendous amount for a lot of you, how long until you plateau? Well, if you're at a 10% churn rate, which means you lose 1 client each month out of the 10 that you bring on, right? So what that means is when you bring in 10 clients the first month, you lose one of those 10 every single month. So how it stacks up is in 10 months you would lose 10 clients on the 10-month mark. And I'll show you a diagram of this. And you would gain 10 clients. So based on a 10% churn rate on 10 clients in per month, on month 10 you will onboard 10 clients and you will lose 10 clients. You will have officially hit your sales plateau. Anyone ever hit a sales plateau? Anyone? Anyone ever hit a sales plateau? Anyone ever been in business and said, man, I always hover around this mark every month. I push sales. I'm not able to. It seems like I get sales in. I lose this amount of business. I get sales in. I lose this kind of business. Chris says, yeah, it sucks. Well, you're on a plateau. And if you never understood why that happened, it's really simple. It's inbound sales versus churn rate. And you know what? What do you got to do to get off of a plateau? You have 2 options to get off of a plateau. Increase sales or decrease attrition, decrease churn rate. You only have 2 options. So it's simple. It's simple mechanics. The question is, what would you do on month 11? So if you're a company and at 10 months in, for the first time, you stopped growing your company. You onboarded 10 clients and you lost 10 clients. And that means that if your inbound sales rate at 10 clients a month and your churn rate at 10% remained the same, that means that officially on month 11, you would lose 11 clients and you would onboard 10, which would be the first time if you started out brand new as a company and your company followed this model, month 11 would be the very first month that you actually started to decline in overall revenue on a reoccurring monthly basis. The question is, on month 11, given the same trend, would be the first month would decrease, that this would be the first month that you'd be decreasing in revenue on a monthly basis. What would you do? What would you do? What would you do to get over your plateau? You going to increase sales? Are you going to stop sales? What would you do? So I'll leave that question open, and hopefully you understand that question because I'm going to come back to it. Christopher says raise prices. Well, that's a calculated measure. Mike says start banging down sales. I agree. Stanley says better service equals better retention, right? So Stanley, you also mentioned that you struggle with sales, so of course you automatically default back to better service equals better retention. But you're not necessarily right. I know that sounds crazy, but Stanley, you're going to want to listen to this webinar a lot. Mike says banging down sales. Mike's going to win the revenue ballgame, I guarantee you. Jamie says, so the main reason why the other big companies like YP are doing big numbers is because they can sell? Yeah, of course. And Jamie says, then what is the solution for small companies that don't have sales force? Jamie, you don't need to have a sales force to sell, but if you're the only person in your company, you better be one seriously good salesperson. And if you are not, you better find one. That's the point of this webinar, and that's the reality. It doesn't matter how good your product is. If you can't sell, you can have the best product in the world. You're not going anywhere. Michael says, focus on new sales and start a retention program. Yeah, there you go. But again, if you don't have the resources to do both, focus on sales. Stuart says, cross-sell other services to existing clients. Sure. Or focus on more sales. Real simple. 10% attrition rate is not a problem. Now, I'm getting a lot of mixed signals here, except for from Mike, who said, start banging down sales. What is the obvious thing to do in this situation? Can anyone, and you know, I'm going to get a little rough with people here, but what is the most obvious problem with down here at month 11 you started losing money? What's your problem? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what is the obvious problem on month 11 with 10 new clients every single month at a 10% churn rate? On month 11, you officially declined in overall revenue. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you. You did not increase your sales staff. Your attrition rate and churn rate remained the same. Your sales rate remained the exact same, and you plateaued. Why, after making all that money over 6 months, would you not start to increase your sales volume? Because your churn rate at 10% is okay. The question is, why, at the success of being able to sell 10 clients a month with the 10% churn rate, would a company not invest more in sales and grow their sales over the entire year? Why would you ever sit there and let it plateau? I'll tell you why. Because you wanted to go on vacation, because you got complacent, because you stopped pushing your company and you got relaxed and you bought yourself a new car and you kicked back because you're a small company and not a big company, and those things happen to small companies. This is not a retention problem. This is a sales problem on month 11. If in your head you said, I'm going to decrease my attrition rate, you're crazy. I'm sorry, but you're crazy. They don't have a problem. There's not a problem with the situation on churn rate. The problem is no one pushed the sales button. As soon as you start focusing on your attrition and churn rate, whenever your churn rate was perfectly fine at 10% and you dove into it and you stopped your focus on sales, you just made one of the biggest mistakes in business. Okay, so let me just step into this and I'll just show you some visuals and we'll get into the top 10 countdown. Let's say you start out with 10 clients in the first month. If we assume that you're losing one client every month at a 10% churn rate and you do not increase the number of your clients, this means that after 9 months, you end up with only one client. So if you are losing one client per month and you're not working on your sales, it's very straightforward. If you started with 10, you don't have any inbound sales, you said, I don't like sales, so you don't do anything. On month 10, you have one client left because you weren't pushing any sales. The whole point is you better have momentum in your company in sales if you want to be in this industry. There is a churn rate. For those of you who think, I'll just have my clients forever because I'm the best online marketing company in the world, well, one, you're not. You're outsourcing your work halfway across the world. We have an absolutely fantastic product, but we'll get into why that product is not necessarily 100% sustainable later. Now let's say that you hired project managers or client retention managers to try to save your problem clients and that you were successful at decreasing your attrition rate. So we started by saying that you started with 10 clients and at the end of 10 months you only have one client left. So let's say that you reacted and said, I don't need sales, I already had my clients, I like babysitting my clients, I'm just going to fix my churn rate. So this is an example of you saying, I'm going to fix my churn rate, not focus on any sales, and I'm going to cut my churn rate in half. So if you started at 10, you cut your churn rate in half at 10%. At the end of 10 months, you have 5 clients. What do you do? So now, wonderful, you have 5 clients instead of 10. You're still tiny, you're still small, and you're not able to pay your own bills or hire anybody. Now, let's turn the tables. And let's say that instead of trying to fix your churn rate and cut it in half, instead, at a churn rate of 10%, what if you hired a salesman instead, converting 10 more clients each month with one really good salesman, which is a fraction of what Yodel, YP, and Reach Local produce with every single salesman. So at month 1, you start with 10. You're still at a 10% churn rate, so you lost one person out of that 10, right, on month 2, but you gained 10. And then on month 3, you lost the second person out of your first 10 batch and another person out of the previous 10 that you just onboarded because you're at a 10% churn rate. But you onboarded another 10 this month. And the next month, you lost yet another person out of your first batch, another person out of your second batch, and another client out of your third batch because you're at a 10% churn rate, but you brought on another 10 because you had sales. And let's go into month 5. Now, you lost one from your first batch, another one from your second batch, another one from your third batch, and another one from your fourth batch because you're at a 10% churn rate, but you brought on 10 more clients. Now you're sitting at 40 clients. Now let me compare this to the guy that didn't push on sales and focused on retention. No sales, 10 months, 5 clients. Hired a salesman, 10% churn rate, 40 clients, 5 months. Is there anything wrong with 40 clients in 5 months with a 10% churn rate on one sales guy that can bring on 10 new clients a month? Is that realistic? Do you think Yodel or Reach Local would hire a sales guy if he couldn't close at least 10 people in 1 month? No. No. Sales. It's a service. If you can't sell it, you have no business. I don't care if you're selling vacuum sweepers, houses, sweepers. I don't care what it is. Computers, electronics, you name it. If you don't have sales, it doesn't matter how good your product is. If you don't understand sales, if you don't know how to run sales, you will not succeed in business. It won't happen. You're reading the wrong news article if they're saying, hey, you got the best product in the world, which we've got a fantastic product, but it doesn't sell itself, and it won't. So let's take one more situation. What if you hired 2 salesmen and you were converting 20 clients a month? And let's look at that 10% attrition rate again. That was so scary before. 5 months in, 74 clients. Is that cool? Who likes that number? 5 months, 74 clients, 2 salesmen, is that real? Well, how else do you think Reach Local got from doing $25 million in 2006 to $500 million in 2013? This, right in front of you, really, really simple. Sales guy, really good, or sales girl, really good, closing sales, churn rate versus sales, push, product, run, done. It's so simple. It's not that difficult. It's not. But if you don't know sales and you don't know how to hire a salesman or find a salesman, you've got a really big problem. Okay, so calculating churn rate, we went through this a little bit. You can Google it all the time. Now, in terms of churn rate, why do you need to understand churn rate? And why do you need to be okay with churn rate? And why do you not need to be that company that says, my client's having problems with traffic or rankings or whatever I'm doing for them, I'm going to drop everything, I'm going to freak out, I'm scared of getting a bad review online, because it's going to happen to you. And why is it going to happen to you? Because guess what? Even if you bring a client a bunch of traffic doesn't mean that you're going to grow their business. It doesn't. Now, why? Because your clients have these statistics behind them. According to Bloomberg, 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs who start business fail within the first 18 months. Well, those are your clients. The majority of clients of your clients that will make it through 1 year in business is minimal. The majority of your clients who will make it through 5 years in business, on average, the statistics are against them. The majority of your clients that will make it through 10 years in business, the statistics are against them. So one, if your clients are not making money and being profitable, and online marketing can't overturn that, you're going to get fired regardless of how much traffic you're bringing them. You can be doing great for a client, and they'll fire you, okay? You need to understand that. Why? Because the majority of people that are in business do not succeed regardless of the marketing that's done for them, because there's a million other factors. So one, If you think that just because you're a good marketing company, you're not going to lose clients, you don't understand the economy at all. Most people fail. Those are your clients. Most people fail, which means you're going to lose clients. You know, welcome to the economy. That's why when people say the economy impacts me, it impacts you. So additionally, in terms of churn rate, you need to understand that you can't control the Google algorithm. You don't understand the Google algorithm. So you can spend all your time trying to figure out issues, or you can set your churn rate and push forward. So you're in the business of providing online marketing services to make clients happy and to make more money. Yes, absolutely. So what are the top 10 reasons why small companies remain small? We've talked about churn rate. We've talked about sales forecasting. We've talked about what the big companies are doing. But what are the top 10 reasons on what keeps you small? Reason number 10, lack of business planning. To become a large company, you have to plan your finances annually and strategic decisions to accomplish your financial goals. Without a basic financial goal, which includes churn rate, then you're left without a basic roadmap. So that means that whenever you wake up every single morning, you don't have a goal. Well, good luck accomplishing a goal if you don't even have a goal in the very first place. You need to set it. If you don't have it, make it, like now. Reason number 9, lack of understanding on the online marketing industry and economy changes in general. Online marketing is a dynamic industry, and it is very unique in that the rules of the game are always changing and completely out of your control. Marketing budgets get cut based on companies' performance regardless of how well the marketing campaign is performing. Marketing companies have to understand their position in the business realm and learn to have a tolerance for attrition. So set your churn rate and understand the churn rate. Be careful about babysitting clients. Understanding your sales goals versus your churn rate and the dangers of sitting there and babysitting a client whenever you don't know the game. It's to a certain degree, especially with SEO, it's out of your control. You need to be able to offer a really good product, but you also need to be able to know when to stand back and say, hey, maybe this just isn't working for this client and I'm going to sell them something else or move forward. Of course, for those people who aren't producing any more sales and for the client that's looking more like this example here, where you're trying to cut your attrition rate and you're scared because you're scared because, you know, oh my God, my client here has a problem, and if I move it over to here and he still has a problem, then I'm going to lose all my business because at this rate I'm going to go out of business. And that's the small business mentality, babysitting clients, freaking out when you lose a client. And why? Because you don't have inbound sales and you're trying to not let this happen where you end up with one client. Why? Because you have no inbound sales and you don't have this going on. You think that this company with that client right here that's having a problem and throwing a really big fit, they pause everything and they go and cater to him? No, they're looking at 40 and then they're going to hire another sales guy and they're looking at 70, and those people that drop off is built into the churn rate, so why would they freak out over them? But what do small companies do? Freak out over them, right? Reason number 9, lack of understanding of the online marketing industry, and that a lot of things are completely out of your control and you have to be able to accept churn rate. Number 8, lack of project management background. Selling online marketing services is profitable for you because of the labor rate exchange, because we're running a very high-end team out of the Philippines at labor rates that afford you to have a markup between us and your client. And what that allows you to do is to handle the project management and the client coordination, and you make a lot of money doing that. That's what you do. That's why you're paid. You're not just a magician and a mystery man sitting in between shuttling deals back and forth. You handle client communication, you handle sales, and you handle the basic project management that's required on the in-between. But oftentimes, small to medium-sized marketing firms either over-project manage or under-project manage. It is rare to ever see a small to medium-sized online marketing company evaluate support overhead and calculate their acceptable support hours going into projects. If you're offering a product for $150 a month to a client that's a very low-level product that you're making like 50 or 75 bucks on a month, do you offer phone support to that client? You better not be unless it's a salesman picking up that phone. See what I'm saying? Under project managing leaves the client pissed off and can possibly lose you the client. Well, maybe that's a client at a level that's okay to lose, and maybe it's not. Over project managing can turn into a vicious babysitting career quickly and really quickly and drain your sales efforts. So project management, you got to understand your balance with your project management, and you have to make sure that you don't over project manage or under project manage. Reason number 7, lack of company structuring and organization. To to organize yourself is difficult enough, yet alone having to organize 10 employees. The level of internal organization in small, medium online marketing companies is typically very, very poor. Customer support systems that are streamlined and working with training for the reps typically does not exist. If you want to run a sales guy, you better have a really good sales guy that can train the other sales guy. If not, if you're going to bring someone into sales and you say to yourself, this salesperson needs a lot of training, you probably don't have a good salesperson because they don't need a lot of training. They'll train themselves. But otherwise, you want to put together a really good training structure, right? But if you don't know sales, then you probably rather have your salesmen put together training models, training scripts and things like that. Without structure and streamlining of basic systems and processes, small, medium companies will never break out of their small bubble. Even volume sales requires a high level of organization in sales. Sales requires organization. Everything requires organization. If you're just an unorganized person and you can't organize anything, that might be the failure of your company. It's really straightforward. You need to be organized in business. Those are some of the things that small companies are missing. Reason number 6, poor judgment on business diversification or target marketing diversification. Oftentimes you run across other streams of revenue, other business opportunities, or maybe yet another in left field target market that seems entertaining. You get distracted easily, you forget your initial business focus, your initial client focus, and you get involved in everything else. You know, it is easy to stray from the primary path of your business's immediate objectives and core services. Over and over again, I have seen businesses wrapped up in side companies or projects, and at the end of the day, they're still a small company at the end of the year. So, is it worth it to go into this other company, or to buy this into this, or to, you know, start offering this to my client, and offer that to my client, and offer this to my client? Look, you should choose 2 or 3 services or 4 services from our services menu to outsource and sell it like crazy. If you had to train a sales team, if you had to handle project management, if you had to do the things that you should be doing as a large company to support onboarding a new product, you wouldn't be out there looking for all kinds of new products just because you were on this webinar or saw that thing in whatever news forum, or you saw this new product and thought you would do this and dabbled in that. Offering new products all the time is difficult, you know. Stay focused. If you're changing your focus all the time, you don't have a business. You're still thinking about what business you're going to run, and that's a dangerous thing. People who are successful in their initial businesses, because, you know, like they say you need 10 businesses or you're going to fail by statistics. That's not really true, because if you look at the people that do succeed in business, they succeed in their first several businesses. That's just overall statistics. The truth of the matter is, people that try to get into business typically fail and never, ever, ever succeed. The people that do succeed are the people that understand their business model, understood the churn rate, understood their profit rate, understood what the sales would be required, and they sat out, they kept their focus, and they executed. If you're still looking around for all the different types of products or services that you could be offering, and you don't even have clients yet, then you don't have a business. You don't. Unless you already are making over $250,000 a year, you're still just messing around with your business plan because you're not organized, because you have no business plan, and you're creating it on the fly, on the go, and you're one of those statistics that won't make it in business if you don't settle down, understand your product, understand what you're going to do in your business, keep your focus, and set your churn rate versus your sales rate, and know how to sell it and move forward. So, reason number 5, too much technical training, not enough sales training. How many of you out there read all of the SEO news, study all the latest online marketing products that can be offered to your clients, watch all the webinars that you can possibly get on, and webinars are not necessarily bad, they can be good. It's good to be educated. But how many of you absorb yourself in this, thinking that if I'm the best marketer in the world, if I know more about marketing than anyone else, if I offer the best marketing product that's out there, I'm going to be rich? No, in fact, from my analysis, those people that get wrapped up in all of this that are not making money to start with are the people that fail. Why? Because when you're small, there's only one thing that should be on your mind when you wake up, and that shouldn't be reading Search Engine Land or Search Engine News or attending another webinar if you already have a product. You better wake up and start your sales. And you don't start sales and stop your sales until you can't stand anymore and you go to sleep. And the next thing you do when you wake up is you don't find another product or another service or go watch another news forum or pay attention to what's the latest. What you need to do is wake up, hit sales, and then, whenever you kick back and start paying attention to all the news and everything that's going on, when you've got salesmen running your sales and you're in a position as a president, CEO, or whatever your position is, to kick back a little bit because you have salesmen running your sales. Now you have time to get into what's called R&D. A good CEO does not spend the majority of his or her time in R&D if you're not closing enough sales to be profitable as a small company with at least 2 salesmen or saleswomen. If you do not have 2, you have no redundancy. 1 is not okay. You don't stop pushing on sales until you have 2. Reason number 5, too much technical training, not enough sales training. Online marketing company owners typically have spent hundreds of hours, if not thousands, studying online marketing. How to do it, what not to do, what you should do, what new tools are out there, what's the latest news, etc. This leads company owners to becoming obsessed with the fine details of the marketing campaigns, obsessing over project management, what are the latest strategies, are my methodologies up to date, and it turns into something like this. Eventually, you have a person on Odesk, and you got another person on Freelancer, you're running 3 other SEO tools, you attend 4 webinar coaching programs, you go to the conferences, and you're staying up to date and on top of the entire industry. You're powerful, you're strong, you know everything. But what's wrong is that your sales is not mentioned in the entire equation. And at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you're a small company and you didn't go anywhere. That's the problem. This is not what builds big marketing companies. This is not what's going to make you money. This is not what's going to put your kids through college. This is not what's going to buy a new vacation home for you or a retirement home or buy your kids retirement homes or whatever you want to do. If you want to create an empire for your family, if you want to be successful in business, this micromanagement on top of your company will put you out of business if you are not making money right now. What's going to put you in business is what? It's really simple. Selling. I've got an outsourcing firm over here that you should be outsourcing from with 300 employees and an absolutely amazing product, 5 times better than the company pushing $500 million a year. You're done on your product level. You're done on your R&D level. All you got to do is take our marketing materials and sell a product. Why would you be doing all of this? I have no idea. I don't know. Because you're listening to what everyone else is telling you? I don't know. All I'm telling you is whatever you're doing, if you're increasing your revenue every single month tremendously, keep doing it. Do it. But probably you're not. So don't. And if you want to know how to make money, find a product and sell it. It's really simple. Reason number 4, and keep in mind this is top 10 countdown on why small companies remain small. Because you have a fear of failure, you have a fear of reputation, you have a fear of not knowing, you have a fear of not being able to handle it. So often when I speak with online marketing companies, the amount of hesitation to hand over campaigns is tremendous. When I talk to online marketing companies, if they have like 10 campaigns sitting there already, they talk to me as if it's the world. Like it's the biggest thing ever. Like, oh my God, I have these 10 campaigns, and I'm sitting there saying like, wow, in the amount of time that you were talking to me, how much time could you have been spending training your sales team? And the amount of time you're trying to figure out what to do with your marketing campaigns, where's your sales efforts? And by the way, how long have you only had 10 marketing campaigns? Because that's not very many. But I've got people that will do a 6-month beta run before they hand over 10 marketing campaigns. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, if you were a halfway decent company and had 2 salesmen, you should have over 50 clients in 6 months, and you're doing a beta run analysis for 6 months. And what do I immediately say to myself in the back of my head? You will always be a small company, because you don't have the mindset to let go and sell. And by the way, those 10 clients aren't going anywhere. They're not going to run away. So having a fear is a big thing. The hand-holding on top of project management can be overwhelming because of the fear of failure. You're scared that you're going to lose a client. Why, when you do get a client, are you so scared that you're going to lose them? Because you don't have 10 more clients coming in through the front door that same month. If you had 10 more clients coming in through your front door and you had a big problem with one of them, would you be focusing on it so much as a president or a CEO? No. If you've got a problem with a client one month and you have no sales for the month, is it going to consume all your emotion and everything because you have no sales? Yes, because you don't have any sales. because you're freaking out saying, I'm going to go out of business if I don't save my clients, and it's not a problem you losing clients. The problem is you never anticipated a churn rate, period, and you have no way to stack up against your numbers to say, is it okay if I lose this client based on my churn rate versus sales forecasting, and so I can think like a bigger company. Instead, you leech onto a smaller client, the fear of not knowing if you're doing what you should be doing, the fear of that you might get a bad review online if you don't babysit this client, the fear that you're going to become a failure, and the fear that you don't know your business model, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it takes everyone into babysitting clients, shying away from sales because you have a fear that you're not going to be able to handle it and you don't know what you're doing. But that's not sales. And anyone that knows a company that pushes sales is not scared of anything. Why? Because you can push sales on the worst product in the world not knowing what you're doing and turn into a $500 million company. And that's sales. Salesmen are not scared of anything. You know why they're not scared of anything? Because if they run into a problem, they'll just sell something else. The fear is oftentimes so great of losing a client or screwing someone over that it literally stops companies from selling. I saw a company one time that had 50 clients, true story, 50 clients. Google did some big algorithm changes. They started losing clients. Traffic started dropping off for their clients. They started losing clients, losing clients, losing clients, probably at about a 20% attrition rate over 3 months. And they locked their sales. And what was their reasoning behind it? Well, I'm not willing to sell anything else to come into my company to bring me a bad reputation if I can't figure out what's going wrong here. I'm going to lock down all the doors on new inbound sales. I'm going to blame my outsource. I'm going to blame everything that's going on. I'm going to blame my project management. I'm going to go back through all my 50 campaigns and sit on them. And I ran into that partner, ex-partner of ours who's actually now back with us. I ran into him 2 years later. Guess how many clients he had 2 years later? 40. Locked his sales. If he would have kept doing what he was doing and understand the dynamics of the industry, he would have had over 250. Amateur move. Reason number 3, an inability to scale project management and understand what is needed. The balance between sales, project management, and sales is difficult when they are the same person, people. So when I talk about separating the difference between sales and project management, it's pretty easy to understand the conceptualization behind it. However, it gets a lot more difficult when you're such a small company that the person doing the sales and the person doing the project management is the same person. Now we run into problems. Now what happens, this is what happens when companies onboard more projects than they can project manage. They stop selling. So what happens when companies onboard more projects than they can project manage? Typically, they stop selling. They turn all efforts towards project management. They over-project manage without streamlined processes or systems. They do not have inbound sales coming in. Clients start to drop off because that's what happens in this industry. Then they panic because they're losing clients and have no sales, and then they turbocharge their client retention efforts with a goal of 0 attrition. And they turn to no sales, because they didn't have the bandwidth to do both project manage and sales, so they shut down their sales and they just project managed everything. I've seen this happen so many times, it's crazy. That's a small company versus a big company. You know what a big company does? They don't hire more project managers at this point in time. You know what they do? They hire more salesmen and they flood project management and they don't deliver and they just deal with it and they get through the growing pains. They never, ever, 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 ever stop selling. Ever. Never. And I wouldn't if I were you either, and if your revenue is anywhere beneath $1 million a year, I would not stop selling until you figure it out. Reason number 2, you have fear of overhead and the dream of living the beach-style remote life. So nothing discrediting towards anyone that's ever coached you on living on the beach, but I will tell you this. If you ever want, well, before I address this one, this could be a bit of a sensitive talking point. How many of you are okay with being in business and by the time you get out of business, your business is worth less than $5 million? Just give me a shout out. I'm not gonna pull these stats out of anyone. How much money does your business need to be worth, even in a 10-year span, for it to be worth your time? What's the minimum amount of money? Is it okay if after 5 years' time you could sell your company for $100,000? Is that okay to you? 500,000? 1 million? Can you retire off of 2 million? People are saying 100 million, 50 million. Well, it's possible, but not very probable. Those are very, very high numbers. Paul says 10 million. Yeah. Denny, I like that number. 2 million. 2 million. It's a good number. Stanley says 10 million. You know, if I were you, the average person that's on attending this webinar, for the most part, I would set my minimum at 5 million worth. Why? Because you can sell for 5 million. You can build a $5 million company in 5 years. Can you build a $50 million company in 5 years? Probably not, guys. Probably not. $5 million company in 5 years? Can you retire off of 5 million? Yeah. Is it an empire? No. But we're looking at $5 million. Even if it took you 10 years and you sold for 5 million, you're still retired. Now, if that's true, and that's $5 million, how many of you think that you're going to run a $5 million company that someone's going to buy working from home? If that's your goal, how many of you think you're going to do it working from home and sell it? And when someone goes in to evaluate you, what are they going to evaluate? They're going to say, oh, okay, so you're working from your home office, and so your salesman's working from home over there, and your projects manager's working from home over there, and you want me to pay you $5 million, and you're bolting into an outsource? I mean, I think that a lot of you that think that eventually, if you want to sell for even $3 million and above for a company, screw that, $2 million and above. If you think that you're going to sell for anything that's worth your time after putting 5 or 10 years into it, and you don't think that you're going to have a physical office at some point in time, or at least a couple members of staff inside that office operating at a professional level, you're just not thinking clearly. Now, if you want a hobby, if you want to work from home hobby, and you want to make just $100,000, $150,000 a year maybe, and you want to travel around and live on the beach, okay, that's doable. But keep in mind, you've got churn rate. And in this industry, you either grow or you shrink. That's it. So for those of you that do want to be successful and you want to build a legitimate business, you better have in the back of your head that you're going to have to get an office at some point and hire staff inside your office. Too many people running around thinking that this is just the dream life. It's not. This is hard work, just like any other business. It's hard, it's difficult, the odds are against you, and you better work your ass off. And the moment that you have the opportunity to grow in size, which means that you could have a physical office to run salespeople and project managers out of and start getting things together, you better get your ass down there, get an office, and get people inside of it if you have the financial means and the momentum in your company to do so. If you choose instead to take your next beach vacation and go chill on the beach, you'll be that same client that I saw that came back 2 years later with 40 clients instead of 50 when he could have been sitting on 250 at a $5 to $10 million company. And it's that straightforward. If you're thinking about living the beach lifestyle in this business, you're in the wrong business. And trust me, I know. I run 300 employees. What's the reason number one that keeps small marketing companies small? And this starts with a question. Which panic button would you hit? When the revenue is down, do you hit the retention efforts button or do you hit the sales button? And we could say that that retention churn rate's at 10 to 15%, even 20%. This is what keeps small companies small. When revenue is down, do you hit the retention efforts button or do you hit the sales button? What would you do? Because the majority of companies that are on this webinar by profile hit the retention efforts button all day long because you don't know how to sell, you don't know sales, you didn't forecast your sales, and because you don't have sales, every client matters, and you blow up my staff and blow up my AMs and blow up everyone you can in my company when you got a problem with one client because it's the end of your world and you're on retention efforts 911 and you're not thinking about sales. I know this answer really well for the majority of you, and most of people by your profiling hit the retention efforts button, and that's wrong. You need to pay attention to it. You need to get things fixed, but retention's a much bigger ballgame. As long as your churn rate is okay, you need to focus on sales, right? Mike says start selling more. Keep in mind, the most The number one thing that will give you a consistent, stable, secure company is your sales. Mike says there's no reason why you cannot have a voice over IP auto dialer for a sales team of 10 talking to potential customers day in, day out. Yeah, but Mike, the problem is most people don't understand sales. Most people that start online marketing companies that are small read all about the tabloids and the forums and the news and the webinars and the software and the products and everything else behind SEO and what can be offered, but they don't know sales. That's the problem, and that's what the point of this webinar is, to show people that if you're really great at online marketing, you just might be the wrong person to run an online marketing company. You'd probably be really good as an online marketing director for a company, or you might be good as an employee. But if you want to run an online marketing company, the most important thing is not the methodology behind the services that you offer. It's the sales. A company without sales is no company at all. A company with a horrible product and online marketing with great sales is a big company. A company with a wonderful, wonderful product and horrible sales is no company. So what's standing between you and the competition? You've got a product through us that's at least 5 times better than their product. The demand is out there. The clients are out there. So what's the barrier between you and the big guys? Sales. But you have an advantage. Your product's 5 times better. But if you can't compete in sales, you're going to go out of business. So much of this is a sales ball game. It really is. Let's see. I got a question up here from Denny. Okay, let me just screenshot that from Denny. Denny, I'll try to get back to you on that question. Denny, you can also email me at, I'll just print screen on this. You can email me, paul@endlessrise.com. Okay, so we got through reason number 1, and that's the end of the presentation. The overall thing to take away from this is just really simple. It's just make sure that you understand your sales, and there's not a reason to have a fear of getting into something that you don't know because you haven't outsourced and you have support on it. But the most important thing is understanding to scale your sales and to pay attention to your sales objectives and to understand the importance in sales as a company, and to really understand that your product needs to be above par. You need to have a good marketing product. You need to be able to understand it. But we offer everyone, we offer you everything that you would ever need to build a sales dream team. I mean, inside of resources, I mean, the marketing library, the VIP website, the monster metrics that we have for you, the lead gold mine that mines the leads for you, the SEO tools that we provide to you, all of the education in the video library. It's just crazy. The amount of marketing materials that you have is completely covered. If you come in here to the marketing library, inside of the dashboard, there's everything. There's like $60,000 worth of marketing materials in here. For general, SEO, local buzz, web design. If you wanted web design marketing materials, you come in, boom. You've got a full-blown sales collateral. You've got a video, a PowerPoint, an infographic, blog articles, an HTML newsletter. You have everything, right? That's big. Not only do you have all the marketing materials in the world at your fingertips that you would ever need to market for, which means that you're just direct sales. The reason why I didn't mention how important it is for you to have world-class marketing materials for your salesmen to work off of is because you have them. There's an entire marketing library here. Yeah, this isn't completely free right now. It's $400 to have access into this. This is $60,000 worth of marketing materials. If you wanted to just create one of these things, it would cost you more than $400. There's $60,000 worth in here. If you don't have a website, you don't look like $1 million bucks as a business, we have VIP websites for you. You can click in here to preview these. It costs little to nothing, right? Mark says, yeah, but it's marked as ER material. Of course it's not marked as ER material. When you buy this and you go to download all of these, no, it's not watermarked. The whole point is that you're able to, right? You're able to brand it with your own company branding. if you have any money and you're going to push marketing through your sales team, you need this marketing library. You brand everything to yourself. Your sales guy can come in and say, I need social media, I need local buzz, I need SEO, I need general, whatever it is. VIP website, template 1, 2, 3, 4. Check out this theme. If you don't look like an enterprise level company, then just buy one of these. It's $400. It's cheap. You can come in here and you've got all the services inside of here. The site's completely set up for you. You need to put your own branding in or pay for us to put the branding in. It's even got a web design portfolio built into it. It has everything in here. This page with the marketing materials built into it has more than 82 total pages. So you got all the marketing materials you would ever need. You've got an out-of-the-box website immediately to get in there with, click-to-view PDF, overviews on everything. And again, from your dashboard, you can get into this from your resources, VIP website, marketing library. And then we've got the, I'll get into that. The lead gold mine system. If you don't know how to mine leads and you want to mine leads to give to your sales team, what if you could run a crawler to mine leads and it extracts out their emails if they have a Facebook, if they have a mobile version of the site, if they have bad reviews, if they're on the first page of rankings? What if you could auto mine, for instance, all the dentists in Dallas or all the contractors in Denver, pull out all their stats, auto email all of them, leave voicemails? You need a system to mine leads for your sales team? Fine, we have that. You need professional SEO suite to have your consultants consult by? We have all of this. Everything's inside of here. It's a sales ball game from here on for you. So I recommend, if you don't know the services well, come into the dashboard and click on the customer support slide out. And there's the sales department. You have a dedicated marketing consultant. You have a dedicated design consultant. Talk to them. If you have a sales staff, put your sales staff in direct contact with them. When you come in, you want to make sure that you click on the home button, you go to the home page, and you want to watch these tutorial videos on step 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are like less than 10-minute videos each. If you don't watch those videos, you're not going to even know what you're doing with our company. So you want to get in and watch these videos. Armando says, so what do we have access to already? We now have to pay more? Don't understand the difference. Well, I'm not going to get into it too much right now, but yeah, for the VIP website, the marketing library, those cost additional. But you have access still to everything else in the dashboard except for the Pro features, and that comes with the Pro membership. That's $100 a month. But I'm already winded here on this. Can I get some quick feedback on the presentation? Did this change anyone's mindset on the industry, to change your mindset on how you're going to go about your sales versus project management focused bandwidth, to change your mindset on the different priorities in your own company? Darwin says, fantastic. Any other feedback? Love it, hate it, offended, happy? Jamie says, so should we focus on offering 1 or 2 services to clients like SEO or social media, etc., or can we still sell 6 or 7 services offered by Endless Rise? Well, you can do whatever you want, but if you're overwhelmed by our services menu, I recommend just choosing a couple services and learn them and sell them, and then expand your services portfolio internally with your own company as you have more time. And I'll recommend those services here in a second. Michael says, I think that you didn't sugarcoat everything. This was great. You're welcome. Mike says, good, glad to see that all I really have to do is sell and not have to learn everything about SEO. Yeah, no, not at all. Denny says, Paul, great sales skills training and focus. Thank you. Roger says, best webinar I've heard in 2 years. Awesome, Roger. Stanley says, good presentation, still would like something to hire, train, and develop a sales team. If I am correct, Matt might be able to make an announcement about that, but if I am correct, from what I understand, Kevin's coming out with a training module on how to hire, train, and develop a sales team. I know that it's in the works somewhere. I don't know when it will be released, or I don't know too many details around it.
Yeah, we're actually Kevin is working on that, and hopefully near the end of the month we'll have something. From my understanding, it should be very, very reasonable and priced, and yeah, so stay tuned. Probably in a couple weeks they'll have some more information for everybody.
Awesome. Deletta says, I was focused on the processes. Now I understand why others bypassed me in growth. Their sites were sloppy, but they zoomed in on sales. Now I understand. Yeah. You know, that's the biggest myth in the online marketing business is that if you have the best product, you will win. If you have the best site, you will win. But, yeah, you need a good site. But if you don't focus on sales, any competitor of yours that does focus on sales is going to wipe the floor with you. Because when you're only pulling in like 2, 3, 4, even 5 clients a month, you're tiny, you're small, and you're going to stay small. You have to figure out how to get your sales up. Jamie says, are the SEO tactics used in Endless Rise still effective to rank sites after Google updates? Absolutely. That's why we do conservative SEO. Mike says, first, I still need access to the dashboard. I've tried twice, but plus a follow-up email, still no response. If you grabbed Matt, put a support email in front of you. If you're also needing access, you can also email Judy at endlessrise.com, and she can get that access for you. Reading through some feedback. Leslie says, sorry if I'm being dense, but surely we do need to learn how to do stuff, SEO, etc., so we can explain it to the salesperson as they can't sell something they don't understand. Well, it just depends, Leslie. If I were you and I had a salesperson, for web design, I would give them this brochure here. I would give them the video. I'd give them the infographic, and I'd tell them to go sell it. And I'd give them their price points, and I'd give them a conversation. So it doesn't take very much, really. They need to understand the points. Sales needs to always be kept very simple. Your salesmen are not marketing consultants. Your salesmen are not design consultants. Your salesmen sell, and you have to separate that barrier. So do you need to understand how SEO works? I mean, no, not really. I mean, and that's got a lot of depth to it, too, because no one understands how it all works. They just understand some of the factors involved. You can go in and understand the line items. What I recommend is if you're brand new and you want to know what to sell, when you get in here, you might get really confused because there's a lot of different services to choose from. If I were you, I would go in and view package details here, and I would understand the SEO services. If I were you, I would just choose a couple SEO services. For instance, sell the 12 SEO Basic or sell the 12 SEO Advanced. If that's all you want to do, then keep it really simple and have your salesman just selling the 12 SEO and say Basic or Advanced. Say, well, one has more workload on it. It does a little bit better of a job. You want to turbocharge it? Okay. Local buzz services. I recommend offering the Advanced Local Buzz. So if you wanted to come in and say, okay, well, I'll offer the 12 SEO, Basic or Advanced, and an Advanced Local Buzz, and so I have my SEO, Basic or Advanced, I have my Local Buzz that I'll offer, and I'll offer, if you wanted to offer web design, you could. If you wanted to choose one thing from social media, you could do that. Now you only have 4 products. If you're coming in here and basing what you're going to give to the client off of our entire services menu, you're going to go crazy. It's just too much that's there. Just choose a couple of products. That's all, like the Local Buzz and SEO. And then talk to your marketing consultant internally here about that through the customer support. Keep it simple in the very beginning. Keep it simple. Larry says, what would be your approach as a brand new biz with no salespeople? Well, Larry, if you're a good salesman, if I were you, I'd be spending every waking moment selling until I had enough money to hire salespeople. Mark says, how do you ensure that your sales effort is not pushy and cheesy like many other larger companies? Matt responded to that saying, use a conservative approach, ask them what they're trying to do, and help match services to their goals, right? You can use a conservative approach like what Kevin teaches, and that's fine. As far as I'm concerned, when I consult businesses, when you're a small business and you don't have sales, you're do or die. You're make it or break it. If you don't get clients in the front door, you're dead as a company. You don't have a lot of time, right? So as far as I'm concerned, if you're a small company and you're worried about the cheesy approach or a pushy approach or hard sales, who cares? I mean, really, you know, is it really that big of a deal? You don't land clients, you're out of business. Do whatever it takes to get your clients when you're small. If you want to go with only a conservative approach, you can do that. But I'll tell you what, hard sales wins every day. Every day, hard sales wins. Hard sales wins. Hard sales wins. So if your conservative approach is not working and you don't like hard sales and you're not willing to participate in that, and the difference between you staying in business and going out of business will be whether or not you're willing to do some hard sales. Are you going to go out of business and say, I'm not willing to do hard sales, so I won't be in business? That's up to you. But I'll tell you one thing. Those companies that we went over that are making between 20 million and 500 million and you have a product 5 times better, if you replicated their sales approach with a product 5 times better, do you think you'd be in business? I know you will be. So that's up to you. But whenever you're small and you're trying to figure out what sales approach works best, hard sales works. And you can't say that hard sales does not work. You know why? Because those companies are making between 20 million and 500 million on a poor product doing nothing but hard sales. So you know hard sales works. Maybe you don't like hard sales. Okay, then don't do hard sales. But if what you're doing doesn't work, then you better revisit what those big companies are doing because it's working, and it's working really well. So if your sales isn't working, you know who to study. The company's making 500 million a year. Listen, I know people who use a conservative sales approach a lot, and that's what I teach. I teach to use the consultative sales approach. That's what I teach. But I'll also be the first one to admit that hard sales works better. There's not much teaching in hard sales, and hard sales is not typically appreciated. You know, hard sales is something that people hate. People don't like it. People don't like to talk about it. They don't like to get a call from a salesman and get closed and have hard sales on their desk. So I don't teach hard sales personally. No, I don't. I teach a consultative sale, which is the same thing that Kevin teaches. And it's the same thing that the majority of the entire industry teaches, which is a consultative sale. But I'm also here to tell you that hard sales works better and creates the big companies. Now, am I telling you to do hard sales? I'm telling you to find a blend. I'm telling you that you need to find a blend between a consultative sale and a hard sale. And I'm telling you that I know hard sales works because all of the biggest companies in the North America, every single one of them runs hard sales at high volume. That's all I'm saying. It works. So yeah, I'm telling you to look into it and find your own blend between the two of them. Push on a consultative sale, but if you're giving someone a consultative sale and you honestly believe that you can do good for them, then why not close on them, right? Why not? All right, so everyone, I'll go ahead and wrap up here and let Matt close this down because we're already over by quite a bit. So hopefully this webinar was educational for you. Hopefully you get into the dashboard, you avail of our customer support, you've got a dedicated sales consultant and marketing consultant standing by. You can go in and submit a proposal request for free research and free consulting. All you got to do is come in. It's free. You can call your customer support representative. You can call your design consultant, you can call your marketing consultant, and you can go in and choose the services that you want. We are running a promo right now. We encourage people to pay their marketing budgets on a quarterly basis, and we have a 50% off on SEO services promo going on 1 month out of a quarter. So you want to get a hold of your marketing consultant or design consultant to ask them about the latest April promos that are going on, because they're really big, and they have marketing collateral to provide over to you to help you market that to potential leads or clients. So if you're new, make sure you get into the dashboard, review the service, view package details, know what kind of education you need just to understand the basics, get a hold of your marketing or design consultant, and have them walk you through it so that you're not all on your own. And remember the differences between a big marketing company and a small marketing company. And what's for you to take away from this is not that I'm telling you to mimic everything that the big marketing companies are doing, because some of them are scandalous, but I am saying that if you do want to get big, you do need to find some sort of a percent ratio to where you are looking at them and saying, that works for them, that works for them, that works for them, and hard selling to a certain degree does work. If you are ever going to hire in any salesman inside of your office, you're going to want them to be pushing a blend between a consultative sale and a hard sale. And if it were me, I'd probably have them lead in with a consultative sale and hard sell on it, is what I would be doing, really. Because you got to understand what kind of support structure you're going to be providing as well in terms of customer support. And if you baby your client too much in the very beginning in a consultative sale, then you're going to be babysitting them the same amount throughout project management. So there definitely is a blend between the two to be taken into consideration. All right, Matt, I'm out of wind. I'll let you wind it up.
I don't doubt that you're how to win. I mean, that was I'll call that business growth 301, maybe 401. I mean, we just stepped right over the beginner class, right over the intermediate playing around class, and we went straight to the university level, in my opinion. And this is a webinar, folks, I think that you're going to want to bookmark. And if you're in a slow period or you're in a time where you're scratching your head, what do I do? I think you're going to need to pull this out and get hit over the head again with this webinar, because, I mean, Paul was approaching it from a very real world, I'll call it brass knuckles approach on building a business. And Paul knows, because he's seen I don't know how many agencies, hundreds, thousands of agencies at this game, and he sees the ones that excel, and he sees what they're doing, and he sees the ones that drift off into the distance. And so this is, yeah, I mean, this was something else here. And so I hope, well, judging by the comments, I know that you all enjoyed this presentation. So thank you very much, Paul, for really pouring it out there for the last almost 2 hours. So I know it is not easy to do that. I've done some Q&A webinars where you're on for about an hour and a half and nonstop talking. You're just exhausted at the end. So I do thank you for that. And I'm not going to try and recap today, I don't think, because there's just so much out there. I would say get the replay when we get that up. We have had some replay questions. I try and download that, get it posted up, usually to the site within about a week. Again, check your chat box for the replay link. It is on there as a URL, and so you should be able to click that, bookmark it. Also, Super Simple has a YouTube channel. So when you're viewing that, and if you go to view it on YouTube, you can also, of course, subscribe, and you'll get notified, I think, of all the recordings that we put up there. And so, yeah, I hope your hands are sore from writing notes. I hope your ears are sore from hearing all the things that we need to be doing to really, really approach this as a real business and to really knock it out of the park. And as Paul says, go out there and sell, rely on his team to do the fulfillment, and you should be able to just crush it. I mean, and a little bit on the consultative, I had a thought on that. As you're out there talking to businesses, part of that approach is you're asking them, what have you tried in the past? What kind of online marketing have you tried? And if you hear them, this is why I like this presentation in the beginning, the first part of the presentation. If you hear them say, well, I tried Reach Local, I tried Yodel, oh man, you got some ammo now, don't you? I mean, you got something that you can probably, well, how did that work out for you? How was your sales rep, I mean, were they responsive to you? Part of marketing is getting them to push pain points, and you're pushing that pain point a little bit because you have a solution. As Paul said, you got something that's 5 times better than what they were doing on the fulfillment side. And so don't be afraid to push on that pain a little bit, and then because then you can step in with a solution. So as you're out there, pay attention, ask them what they've done, and look for those hot buttons, and that will help you in your sales. All right, we are going to go ahead and close this down. Thank you so much for all your comments today. Just tons and tons pouring in. As I said in the beginning, the next one we are going to schedule would be April 28th. That would be a Q&A session, and I'll be here answering some questions. Paul's oftentimes busy. Sometimes he can drop in, sometimes he can't, but we will at minimum have myself here to answer all your questions. So we look forward to you joining us then. Paul, any last minute comments from you?
Yeah, I do have one. I like to talk about a lot of the realities because I think people need the realities really pushed on them and pushed on them really, really hard. And the reason why I put together this presentation was as a result of all of my one-on-one conversations with even medium to even large-size marketing companies. I was starting when I started to have a lot of repetitive conversations with individual firms. Then I put it into a presentation because I think everyone needs to hear it. But I do want to say though that this is a very lucrative industry, that it's a very legitimate business to be in, and you can make a tremendous amount of money in this industry. And I think that, you know, of all the different businesses I could go into, I chose this one because of how lucrative it can be and how much money you can make. And there's such a big, you know, trend right now in online marketing that there's so much potential to be in this industry. So what I don't want is I don't want this presentation to you know, scare people away from owning an online marketing company. It's just to really set expectations on it. But what I did not say is to reinforce that this is a really good industry to be in. There's a lot of money to be made in this industry, and it can be very it can give you a lot of satisfaction to build and own and grow an online marketing corporation, and I definitely encourage everyone to fight that battle, and hopefully this just brought a little bit more reality to the picture behind things. So, you know, here's to sales, huh?
Yeah, no, that's a great comment, because there is absolutely an opportunity. I mean, we're seeing it, you know, with Nitro Marketing and the clients who are taking this thing serious and excelling at it. Paul and I both went to Denver. We met lots of people who were successful at this business, you know, day in and day out, and they're out there building a business, and they're some of them, you know, with a goal to sell it, you know, as Paul was talking about. But absolutely, and I think this falls right into line. I know Kevin is a big believer in operate your business and leverage your strengths and go out and make connections or hire people or whatever you got to do to fill in the gaps. And if what you found out today was sales is a gap for you, then take Paul's recommendation and go out there and be willing to give up to 49% of a company, you know, to get sales, because that's the only thing that's going to put money in your account at the end of the year. And so if this webinar served as a function for you to go, you know what, I'm not a salesman, you know, well, then make a plan B. Don't let it stop you. Like Paul is saying, huge opportunity here. Do not let this stop you. Like I said, Kevin's putting out a course with another gentleman in a couple of weeks. It's going to be fairly priced. It's all about getting sales, training the team. Look for that. You know, we'll probably talk about this subject moving forward, because it does seem to be a hot button, but it's an absolute need to be able to drive sales. So I hope you take away encouragement from this webinar. I hope you take away, you know, a good spanking, so to say, if you have not been, you know, tackling this 800-pound gorilla in your business. It's time to get out there, and it's time to be serious about it. But there's plenty of rewards for those who will do it. So, all right, everyone, we are at the 2-hour mark. So we're going to go ahead and close it down. Thank you for your participation today. Get out there, make some sales, and have a wonderful week.